Hello again, guys, and welcome to my channel. It's another beautiful summer day here in Thailand, and I spent the last 5 minutes trying to figure out which side to point the camera. Wait for it. It's because I'm on the rooftop of the building that we're staying in the province of Chonburi. Okay, and whichever way I point the camera, like, look at this. It's just gorgeous all around. It's absolutely beautiful. So I was trying to figure out, the sun is coming this way, so but then I like the background that's on this side, and I also like the background but I'm not mad at the sea views either. Anyway, so this is my third week here. It's my third week in Thailand, and so far my biggest concern has been to make sure that my son acclimates. I really wanted him to be comfortable, and like I said in the previous video, he got here and basically took to it and became super happy. And I honestly think it is the happiest I've seen my son. And of course, he was born in the summer last year, so we spent the first 3 months, you can't take the baby out in the heat, so we spent the first 3 months indoors, and then it was winter, so we were stuck in the house because it was freezing. And that's when I started suffering most, postpartum depression. So just to be out here where he is just in the best, I don't know, he's happy, he's giggling, he's laughing, he's dancing, y'all. I'm not much of a dancer, but if you turn on music or if something comes on TV that has a bit of music in it, he starts dancing like real dancing. And so I'm truly happy, because I think as parents, all you want is to make sure that you're not messing up your children's lives or your child's life. So I'm grateful that the step that I've taken doesn't seem to be compromising his happiness. I also looked into, what toys should I have for him. And, most of you know that I spent, again, a great deal of time. I went in the U.S. as an au pair, and I spent a great deal of time working as ultra high net worth governess before I transitioned into estate management. So I'm kind of aware of the physical things that you need to have in your household, like the type of toys that help them develop their fine motor skills, help them identify letters and colors and numbers and all that stuff. But I'm also very aware, as someone who, who's very, very familiar with early childhood development, that all those things are preparing your child to exist in the real world. So I kind of had this big debate in my head. Okay, I just took him and stuck him in the real world. Should I have some toys too? And I realized that actually I don't need to have too many toys. I don't need to put up a sandbox for him. I could just take him down to the beach and he could just have all the sand he wants. So that's been the advantage of being out here, is because he picks up sticks, he lines them up, he grabs on the rocks, he kind of feels them in his hand, he touches the grass, and he's figuring out how to eat all the tropical fruits like the lychees, and he's figuring out how to get the pit out of a cherry. All these little things that I'm just so blown away to see him doing at 10 months. So for that, I'm very, very, very happy, because I'm starting to get relaxed about the fact that I just uprooted him, and now there's no sort of stability, and there's no more daycare for him when they are teaching him in a classroom setting how to do certain things. Of course, I do put on some videos for him to kind of, hear some music, and I do limit screen time, but I do make sure that he's kind of still getting in some sort of the usual curriculum that other kids might be, experiencing, but just within a set amount of time. I don't make it past like 30 minutes or an hour a day. Anyway, enough about that. When it comes to the business front, just having to transition, finally, it feels like having had a career of 20 years. I knew exactly, I had this train going, I had built this track, and I had put up this train that fits perfectly in this track, and I had finally gotten to the part where the train was running smoothly, and I knew what to expect. I knew where to adjust when there were kinks. So when I had my child, I thought I could quickly just get back on the same train and go. And, those who followed me on my other social media platforms know that I immediately went back to work after my son was born. I mean, I had a C-section. I think it was 4.5 to 5 months in when I went back to work with my son strapped on me, because I needed to be there. There were some work emergencies. The person who had replaced me was, just putting the boss through the most. So I had to go in and kind of help out with some things. And then at 8 weeks, I put my son in daycare and, started really working. And I used to think that postpartum depression hits you immediately after you have a baby, but no, it doesn't. It doesn't hit you then. So when that all kind of started happening, and a lot of things on the personal level were happening, and we were losing his dad and all that stuff. Oh, it's hot, sorry. I kind of felt like that track and that train that I was on was kind of, it wasn't a fit anymore. That train was no longer working for me. I could not get up and go like I used to get on the same train. So now I feel like I'm at the part where I have to jump off. I mean, I jumped off this train, and I'm literally having to build a new set of tracks, and I literally have to find a new train that will fit into these new sets of tracks, because what I have done in the past 20 years did prepare me, to learn how to quickly build and to figure things out. But I can no longer exist in the same space that I did before I had my child. Everything I do now, I have to first consider how it's going to affect him. So as far as the business is concerned, I'm very clear about a few things. I don't want to hand him over to somebody to take care of him. The whole point of me not being full-time at work and putting him in daycare is so that I can be there to help raise him. As much as I'm happy to have an extra set of hands, I still have to be involved. When he cries, I'm the one who deals with it. When he's hungry, I'm the one who makes his food. I'm the one who feeds him. When his diaper is changing, I'm the one who changes him. Unless I'm super exhausted, I've been up all night, and then, someone else jumps in when he's crying and helps out. On top of that, also trying to figure out this whole new environment, and also trying to, discover all the things that I had come into this region to discover, and to figure out how that fits into my new set of, my new train line that I'm trying to build. It's exciting, but it's also nerve-wracking, because I know very well that there's no turning back. I no longer fit in my past life. My life as it is now no longer fits into the world that I existed in before. So just this whole process of having to rebuild this entire new life, is rather unnerving, because it's like you're floating. I have jumped off the ledge. When I got on that plane from Washington D.C. to Bangkok, I literally jumped off the edge, and right now I'm at the point where I'm kind of like floating. I'm floating in my parachute and kind of hoping it opens. But I have I'm going to be very clear about this. I have a very clear plan of action. I know exactly what I'm supposed to do. My company has been registered. I just have to say, I am so grateful for the people, because there's always people in the background who you don't see when it comes to developing these huge ideas that I have. I've had to register my company in South Africa, and I'm not home. I'm unable to do the things that allow me to be there, to sign everything. And with that comes a whole set of lawyers and accountants and a very, very good friend of mine. I'm not going to try to put her out here on blast. She keeps her life very private. But I am blessed to have people that I can trust to that level, that they can stand on my behalf when I cannot be there. With the US, everything, I could do everything online. I could just be anywhere in the world and just sign up for everything and register the company. But having to do all the paperwork that include dealing with revenue services, dealing with the import and export licenses, all that stuff, I cannot be there for it. And so I've had to have a whole lot of paperwork done to make sure that someone can step up on my behalf and deal with it. And I feel absolutely blessed that I have that. It's very rare. It's very rare to actually have people that you can trust to that level. So I'm absolutely, I have to put that out there, because it's like, I don't want to pretend like I'm doing this on my own, and that I'm not getting any help. I absolutely am. And it's really from people who have been with me throughout different stages of my life, and to just have that is quite a blessing. So I'm able to do this part, the South African part of the paperwork for my business, because I'm lucky enough to have people I can trust. And so it just goes a long way to have a sense, to have a community, and to just have people who love you enough and care enough to want to see you succeed. So, and to those of you who are watching my journey, those of you who engage us on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook, I see all of you. People have sent me DMs and offered me so much help. They've offered their resources, they've offered their friends who are in Southeast Asia. I see you all. And I'm so grateful. I have people who are ready. I have people who have gone and made passports, who are ready to get on a flight the very next day, if I say so, to come and help me. I cannot tell you. It's so true. When you're ready and you take the first step forward, people you didn't even know were watching you come in and say, I'm going to go do my passport, and I'm going to sit here and wait. If you ever need me, just give me a call and I'm getting on the next flight out. Do you know how that makes me feel? How rare that is. What a blessing that is. So I just want everybody who's helping me in the process to know how appreciative I am for just everything that you do. And we're all gonna take this thing up together. When this succeeds, we all succeed. And I'm so grateful. We live in a world where we're constantly being told that women can't get along and they can't do anything together. I've been so lucky and so blessed that everybody on my team at the moment is a woman, and they're like, we're behind you and we're gonna do whatever it takes to help you. And for that, I'm forever grateful. I'm gonna stop this video now because it's gonna get too long and I have to record another one. So I'm trying to figure this whole editing thing out. I edited the last video myself, and I'm, again, that's what happens when you have time. You get to figure these things out. Your creativity comes out. I keep saying this over and over again. When I worked and had to fit into somebody's standards and do things according to how somebody else wanted, it felt like a part of my brain was shut down, because even if I knew there was an easier or better way of doing stuff, I had to abide by a certain set of rules that, that follows the direction of whoever's paying me. So this time around, though, I get to explore what's in my head. It feels like my mind is kind of open, in a sense that if I think of something, I can draw it down, try it out. If it doesn't work, fine. If it works out, great. I get to explore every creative part of my being, because I'm not limited to somebody else's rules. And to think that 20 years of my life I spent following on the tracks of, in terms of the career, following and doing of course you have to learn, but just the idea of, even after learning, you move to a different client and you've already amassed so much experience, but you get to somebody and they want to make you do things in an ancient way, when you know that there's a quicker way and a better way of doing it. And for you not to be insubordinate, you kind of have to do things the way you're being told, and that no longer worked for me. Especially with my son, I want him to grow up watching me using every part of my creativity, living my best life and exploring everything that I said I wanted to do. So I'm grateful that he gets to watch me do everything that I said I was going to do. And again, I have no doubt that everything is going to work out in the end. Right now, though, we're just floating in the air and praying for the best. Thank you all for watching. Please, if you like this content, consider subscribing to my channel and liking and sharing. I would appreciate it. Thank you so much.